Something that's been on not only my mind, but many others in the Boruto community is the true depth of Boruto's abilities. To say Boruto's arsenal of jutsu and techniques has deepened after the time skip would be quite the understatement. We see not only has he mastered new uses of the Rasengan and even techniques such as flying Raijin, but he's also adopted an entire new fighting style in Kenjutsu. And that's not even including some potential abilities he's inherited from Momoshiki. If you want to hear me go over every possible ability that Boruto may have learned throughout the time skip, and even potentially throughout TBV VORTEX, then click the video in the top right corner. We've seen a new ability from Boruto damn near every chapter so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if he showed us something even crazier in the upcoming chapters, especially since a formidable foe such as JURA and the other Shinju were teased to finally come into Konoha soon. One of these abilities that could potentially be important in Boruto's arsenal is Kinshiki's tool creation technique. The tool creation technique grants his user the ability to manifest red, glowing, malleable chakra. The user can then manipulate this chakra to form various makeshift tools and weapons, which can easily be compared to the Truth Seeker orbs to how they float in the air beside its user. Of course, Boruto wouldn't have any of Kinshiki's abilities in any normal case. However, this ability was inherited by Momoshiki when he fused with Kinshiki via the chakra fruit. And he inherited this ability from Kinshiki before Momoshiki placed the karma onto Boruto. And now that Boruto has finally reached 100% Otsutsuki, he should now be able to perform Momoshiki's abilities with no issue at all. Usually when a vessel reaches 100% Otsutsukification, he or she gets their body taken over by that Otsutsuki. And in any case, it would be Boruto, but since Momoshiki used the last 18% of the karma to keep Boruto alive, he's now unable to fully resurrect through Boruto's body. A big topic in the Boruto community is if Momoshiki is still fused with Kinshiki after he gave Boruto his karma. I can understand how it may come off a little confusing because Momoshiki is clearly seen in base instead of his fused form. But I can say confidently that the appearance probably doesn't matter as much as you think. Once an Otsutsuki consumes a chakra fruit of any kind, its power granted is permanent. It's an everlasting update to their DNA. It's meant for them to evolve. So even if Momoshiki in his spiritual state isn't appearing as his fused self, it probably has nothing to do with him losing Kinshiki's power or anything like that. So getting back on topic, since Momoshiki used his last 18% of his extraction data to keep Boruto alive, Boruto basically has all the perks of being 100% Otsutsuki while still keeping his consciousness. Unless of course he somehow loses all of his chakra, which I still think Momoshiki can take over his body temporarily, but when it comes to fully resurrecting through his body, which is Momoshiki's primary goal at this point, he's unable to do it himself. That's why he's trying to get Boruto to lose faith, so he can willingly give Momoshiki his body of his own free will. Like, this whole situation is an anomaly. We have never seen something like this before. So the limits of Boruto's actual power is still unknown until it's shown in the manga. So let's go a little bit more in detail about the ability. The tools that Kinshiki manifested were powerful enough to create craters when struck against the ground and take down his planet's god tree. When you take a look at this page, you can see that it describes Kinshiki's forbidden power as being able to split worlds and obliterate all things. The forbidden powers, of course, being his manifested weapons in this situation. This statement could be interpreted in a few ways because you can interpret worlds as like being able to split an entire planet or just being able to inflict great damage to the landscape of the planet. Both is very possible, but very different at the same time. I suppose if Hagoromo is capable of creating an entire moon by himself, and Kaguya herself could be described as solar system level. Not to mention Momoshiki can casually destroy stars. Kinshiki being able to slice planets doesn't sound all that crazy anymore. And that's with just these weapons alone, just to give you an idea of exactly how strong his weapons are. But the weird thing about this whole thing is, I don't know if the ability has its own set strength or if it scales to the user. So if Boruto uses this ability, it would technically be stronger because he just outscales Kinshiki in every way possible, even if Kinshiki is said to have godlike strength. So let's say you don't think Boruto's base strength is superior to Kinshiki's for some reason. Boruto with his karma activated should amp his physical attributes enough to a point where he can not only match, but far surpass his strength. It also fits Boruto's fighting style now as well. Who's to say he can't just manifest chakra into a form of a blade in case he loses his sword or anything? Not only will that sword be way more destructive, but it'll be more versatile as well, being able to manipulate the tools telekinetically. Let's take a quick look back at chapter 6. One thing that wasn't specified about the ability is whether he could control weapons telekinetically that he didn't manifest. Or to be more specific, was telekinesis another ability of Kinshiki that was separate from his tool creation ability? When Mitsuki attempted to sneak attack Boruto, his sword can be seen flying right out of his holster in an abnormal fashion. It's almost as if it just flew out on its own free will. Now this hasn't exactly been debunked, but I heard a few explanations as of how this was possible. Some people believe it was a strong wind style technique that could have made the sword unsheathe itself. And I heard people say Boruto did it with a swift thrust of his pelvis, which probably sounds a lot more unbelievable than the first one, but it's still a possibility. I also heard it was a technique that Sasuke tried to teach him a while ago, originally from Orochimaru when he manipulated his Kusanagi sword with extreme chakra control to pierce right through Hiruzen. I actually believe there's a possibility for all of them, especially the latter one. But what I feel definitely fits the narrative the most is Boruto just being able to manipulate his sword using some sort of telekinetic ability. And it could belong to Kinshiki, who was a master of weapon manipulation. This would be an amazing technique for him to have because obviously he has marked his sword with a flying Raijin seal so he can instantly teleport to his sword whenever he wishes. And look at exactly how he uses it. Whenever his hands are bounded or in a tough position, he can easily get out that situation by manipulating his sword to fly to a safer spot and then using flying Raijin to free himself. And he could probably use this for offensive combat as well, not just defensive. It could be a very good distraction to catch his opponents off guard, even transforming a shadow clone into a sword and using that to surprise his enemies. You have to admit, Kishimoto did a very good job of giving Boruto abilities that would help him in some way. You don't see him just giving Boruto every ability just because he's strong or because he's an Otsutsuki and can technically learn any technique he wishes to. His jutsu arsenal has structure to it. Every ability he used so far has been detrimental to his survival and success in battle. If Boruto wasn't a Kenjutsu user, I don't think that having tool creation / manipulation would be a very useful ability for him to have. But in reality, this again affects the way he can fight and only increases the amount of options he has when choosing an attack strategy based on his enemy. So let me know how you feel about Boruto having or potentially using this ability in the future of Boruto TBV VORTEX. I honestly feel he could probably use the telekinesis ability in nearly every scenario he was in, except fighting code, which was extremely low diff for him. I think we definitely see him use this against the Shinjutsu soon. It could make for an interesting counter for their claw mark ability, and it's no secret that with Boruto's flying Raijin and the Shinju's claw mark ability, we're in for a really fast-paced battle. So again, this was a highly requested video, so I had to do some extra research on Kinshiki alone to be able to see if I think Boruto would be able to use this ability in the future. Because if I didn't think there was a way this ability could be extremely helpful for Boruto, I wouldn't have even have made this video. But I do think we see it very soon, and we may have already seen one of Kinshiki's abilities already. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it does help not only this video, but the whole channel get recommended for more people to watch. Subscribe and turn on post notifications if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. And we'll be going live for chapter 8 spoilers sometime next week. So make sure you don't miss that because I'll be doing a little giveaway for the channel members as I often do. So if you want to become a member, the link to that will be in the description below. And join the sub Discord if you're interested in talking about the new chapter and hearing new theories and stuff like that. Or just chatting it up with other Boruto fans, you know? We'll be chilling in there, so just join up for some good vibes. But without further ado, I'll see y'all in my next video. I'm out. Peace.